Hi everyone, welcome back to the podcast. We hope you're doing well. I'm Paola.
And I'm Danielle.
And today we have a special episode for you. We are going to be talking about and kind of reviewing some trailers to some upcoming horror movies. So yeah, it should be fun. Stick around and watch or listen to our opinions of these trailers.
Mm-hmm.
So the first trailer / movie we're going to be talking about is Candyman, which comes out, I believe, this September. So according to Wikipedia, it is an American supernatural slasher film directed by Nia DaCosta and written by Jordan Peele, which is really cool.
Mm-hmm.
It's also written by Wynn Rosenfeld and Nia DaCosta. It is apparently a direct sequel to the 1992 film of the same name, and the fourth film in the Candyman film series, which is based on the short story The Forbidden by Clive Barker. So I'm not too familiar with this series. I've never seen any of them, and I actually didn't realize it was a series. I don't know if that makes me a horrible horror fan or whatever, but I've seen the trailer a few times. Obviously, we watched it in preparation for this episode, but we've also seen it in the movie theaters, and I always thought it looked really neat. And especially because it's got like Jordan Peele attached to it, so I thought it looked really interesting. The film stars Yahya Abdul-Mateen, Tiana Paris, Nathan Stewart Jarrett, and Coleman Domingo, along with Tony Todd and Vanessa Estelle Williams, reprising their roles from the original film. So that's kind of cool. Like,
Yeah.
I don't know anything about the original film again, but it sounds neat.
So first thing off the bat that I noticed is that I feel like this had a lot of really visually interesting,
Like imagery.
yeah, and just like all the different like colors
Mhm.
and like, I mean, part of it's like in an art gallery, I think. So like,
Yeah.
I don't know. It looked really interesting to me. It wasn't like all. Like, a lot of horror movies are kind of just, like, all, like, dull, like, gray, black.
Right.
This was very colorful and, like...
It probably... I don't know too much about the story of the Candyman again, but maybe it's tying into the fact that it's, like, almost like a... What do you call it? An urban legend. And a thing that kids believe or, like, teens believe. Because there is a scene in the trailer where, like, some teenage girls are standing in front of the mirror and they're doing the Candyman thing, so maybe they're trying to tie in that, like, playful aspect of it or something.
I could see that.
Yeah. You brought up the art gallery, and it kind of reminded me of the art gallery in Velvet Buzzsaw.
I was about to write that, and then
Yeah.
I was like, I don't know.
Yeah. So I don't think it's going to be the same kind of vibe as Velvet Buzzsaw, but maybe, I don't know.
I will say maybe it is, because it seemed like it was supposed to be an interactive component of the art gallery with the mirror.
Oh, right.
And there was the interactive thing with put your hand in this thing, it's going to get chopped off.
Yeah.
So, can make a connection there, kind of.
Very true, yeah. But yeah, that is one of the things that it reminded me of.
Mm-hmm.
Overall, I am excited to see this one, especially seeing that Jordan Peele's, attached to it. So
One thing that I will say that I kind of didn't like is that I feel like this gave away way too much in this trailer, which I don't like when trailers do that.
Yeah.
I think it basically shows that, at least from what I could tell, the way that they were portraying it, that the main character, at least who I think is the main character, the photographer guy,
Yeah.
it seems like he's going to get possessed by the Candyman spirit or something like that.
Right.
Which is like, I didn't want to know that necessarily. But, I mean,
Yeah.
whatever. I'll still watch it.
Right.
And, like, I do want to watch it. It does look interesting.
I guess maybe that's what happens in the original ones, or in the, like, the 1992 ones. So they were kind of maybe thinking that you might already know that or put it together. So
That's true. That's true.
So the second trailer that we watched is the one for Halloween Kills, which is upcoming American ensemble slasher film directed by David Gordon Green and written by Green, Danny McBride, and Scott Teems. I don't know if you know who Danny McBride is, but he's a comedic actor. He was in Pineapple Express.
Okay.
And I am very surprised that he wrote this movie. And he wrote the other one, too, the one that came out in 2018.
Oh.
So I was like, that was so random. I, like, saw the name when I was looking into the movie, and I was like, is that who I think it is? And then I Googled him, and I was like, yeah, that's the guy from Pineapple Express. And I think he was in other, like, comedy movies, too, but I was very surprised.
Yeah.
Yeah. Let's see. The film is a sequel to 2018's Halloween and the 12th installment in the Halloween franchise. That's nuts.
I guessed 12 when we were
Really?
sitting there. I was like, yeah, the 12th one or whatever. And I was like...
It's the 12th one.
Shit.
It stars Jamie Lee Curtis, Nick Castle, who reprised their roles as Laurie Strode and Michael Myers, with James Jude Courtney also portraying Myers again. Judy Greer, Andy Matichak, and Will Patton also reprised their roles from the previous film, with Anthony Michael Hall and Thomas Mann joining the cast. The film, which begins precisely where the previous film ended, sees Strode, along with her family, continue to fend off Myers with the help of Haddonfield community. So, yeah. This one looked good, I thought. I thought it was funny that, like... I mean, I guess it wasn't funny, I don't know. At the very beginning, like, the house is on fire, so it's picking up right where the other one left off. And Laurie was like, no, let him burn. So I'm like, these guys are just trying to do their job, man. It's like, these firefighters are just trying to do their job.
Yeah.
But yeah, I thought it was funny. But it looked good overall, I thought.
Yeah.
What were your thoughts?
Well, now that I know that this one's also a sequel to something, I kind of would want to watch the...
You didn't watch the 2018 one?
No.
The one that, like, just came out a few years? You didn't watch that? I could have
No.
sworn we went to the theater together, but I guess we didn't.
I think just you and Joe went.
Oh, okay.
That
one was pretty decent, too.
Yeah. There's also, I saw when I was looking up upcoming horror movies that there's going to be another one after this one in 2022 called Halloween Ends.
Mm-hmm.
So I guess it's going to be a 3-part thing.
Yeah.
Yeah, I want to see it. It looked interesting. I thought it was funny that it looked like they're going to be a mob versus Michael Myers.
Yeah, they were really
funny.
Building up their team. I noticed, and I pointed it out to you, that this has Kyle Richards in it, who is from the original Halloween movie, but also, I know her from The Real Housewives of Beverly Hills, which I've only seen, like, part of the first season, because honestly, I got kind of bored of it, but that's a story for another podcast. But anyway, yeah, I saw her, and I was like, is that her? And then I realized that it was, and I was like, oh, yeah, she was in the original movie, so... I don't know how much acting she does nowadays, but apparently she's going to be in this new one. She's going to reprise her role, so that's pretty cool.
That is cool.
Mm-hmm.
It seems like there's going to be a no mask shot. I don't know if they do that in other movies. I'm being honest, I haven't seen probably most of the Halloween movies. I know I watched, like, the Rob Zombie one.
Yeah.
And, like, one of the... I think the very first one I watched on TV a long time ago, but...
I haven't seen that many of them either.
Yeah.
So...
I think that the no mask shot would be cool.
Right.
To see.
A reveal.
Yeah. I like that this one didn't show too much.
Like the trailer itself didn't show too much?
Yeah. I appreciate... Like I said before, I appreciate the trailers that... show enough to get your interest, but not too much that it, like, ruins...
It gives away the whole story, yeah. I was confused by a kill that they show in the trailer where he, like, breaks off the bulb from, like, you know those long lights? Usually they're in kitchens. I don't know what they're called.
Oh, yeah, like the I don't know what the name of them are either.
I'll put a picture of one here. But anyway, he takes one of the tubes or whatever for the bulb, and he stabs somebody in the neck with it. And I'm like, I don't know why, but I've always gotten the impression that glass that those bulbs are made out of is so fragile that I don't know if it would quite cut somebody in the neck like that. But maybe it's hard. I don't know.
I'm pretty sure I've handled those before,
Mm-hmm.
and I think if I'm remembering correctly, that they are more thick. That they're almost sort of like a thinner version of like a PVC pipe, kind of.
Oh wow, okay.
From what I remember, which is, you know, I've like barely. I think one time in our apartment we needed the thing fixed and like I like held it or something. But I feel like that they were thicker.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, so I was just kind of like, I don't know if it would quite do that, but if they're thicker, then maybe it would. I don't know. I don't want to question, you know, Michael Myers' logic, but he has been going at it for a while, so he's the expert.
He apparently never fucking dies.
Yeah. But yeah, what else? Yeah. So I also haven't seen all the movies, but I am excited to see this one because it looks like it might be a good one. I have seen the 2018 one, so like I at least can put that together.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, I thought I really like Jamie Lee Curtis, so I'll watch like almost everything that she's in.
She's amazing.
So yeah. The next one we watched is for a movie called Last Night in Soho. It is a British psychological horror film directed by Edgar Wright with a screenplay by Wright and Christy Wilson Carnes from a story by Wright. The film stars Thomasin McKenzie, Anna Taylor-Joy, Matt Smith, Diana Rigg, Rita Tushingham, which is a funny name, sorry, and Terrence Stamp. So yeah, this one looks really cool, I will say.
Yeah.
It looks really interesting.
Mm-hmm.
I thought, like, I could tell, obviously from the trailer, that it's meant to be a horror movie of sorts, and I mean, it is psychological horror. Mm-hmm. But I really like, again, how you said, like, they didn't give away too much.
Yeah.
They almost didn't give away anything at all, but just the visuals themselves are so cool that they kind of make you want to watch the movie.
Yeah. I feel like if you took out the music and, like, some of the, like, split seconds of, like, especially towards the end, if you take out some of the ending part of the trailer, but if you, like, just watched the like, maybe up to, like 2/3 of the trailer and took out the music, I might not even be able to notice that it was supposed to be a horror movie.
Right, yeah.
Like, the music really does a lot to add to, like, tension and, like, feeling of, like, oh, this is
something's off.
Yeah, something's off.
Yeah.
And I'm really interested to see how they're going to go about how she is getting into this other old-timey flapper time or whatever it is.
Yeah, I am too, because it's not really explained, like I mentioned, and it seems like it could be like supernatural, it could be just psychological, like she's just imagining it, or the monster or the ghost or whatever you want to call it is messing with her mind. But either way, it looks really interesting. The director, Edgar Wright, he also directed Baby Driver and Scott Pilgrim vs. the World and Shaun of the Dead, which all of those movies I liked. I wouldn't say that I loved, but I did like them. And I think he's got some like hardcore fans out there, I think. Specifically, I've heard a lot of people talk about Baby Driver as like this like perfect movie, which I think it's good, but I wouldn't say it's perfect. But I did enjoy it enough, obviously, to go see this one, and also the trailer just makes it look really interesting.
Yeah.
The main actress, not the one that's like in the old timey, but the other one, she looked so familiar to me, and she was in the movie Old, which we just watched.
Oh.
She's the girl when she's grown up.
Yeah.
So I was like, why does she look so familiar to me? And I looked it up, and that's what it was. So she's getting a lot of work recently. Good for her. What else? Yeah, that's pretty much all I have. Looks really interesting to me. I'm excited to see that one.
Yeah, I think so far of the three, that one seems like it's caught my interest the most. I would say probably just because there's enough mystery to it and mystery to it, I guess, that I don't really know exactly what it's about, but it's given me like
enough that you were drawn in.
Yeah,
that's how I feel too.
I also really liked how the end of the trailer, when there's the glass that it like still frames on her like being scared, and then the glass like starts breaking, which was really cool.
Yeah.
I feel like I haven't really seen many trailers do like a stop frame and like have like an effect on it or something like that.
Yeah, and I think it probably also ties into, I think at the beginning of the trailer when she looks at herself in the mirror, she kind of sees that other character slash ghost slash version of herself.
Mm-hmm.
And of course at the end of the trailer there's that like shattering scene, so I'm sure mirrors come into play somehow in the story, so
Yeah.
seems like it's going to be a good one.
It seems like there's gonna be like part of the way that the like exchange between her life and the other world, or maybe she's just stuck in the old-timey world when at the end of the trailer you see these like shadow things like coming out of the floor and like breaking through the wall and stuff.
Yeah.
And I thought that those looked, I don't know, kind of off, but also I'm not seeing it like in context with what's happening in the movie, but
it kind of doesn't match like what you think it might be. But then like at some point there's some sort of like monster element or something, but I guess we'll find out when we watch the movie. So
yeah.
the next trailer that we watched was for the movie Malignant, which is an upcoming American horror thriller directed by James Wan, from a screenplay by Akilah Cooper, based on an original story by Wan, Ingrid Bisu, and Cooper. It stars Annabelle Wallis, Maddie Hassan, George Young, and Nicole Brianna White. So yeah, this one is, James Wan, we know from directing The Conjuring, and then also in the trailer they mentioned he also directed Saw and Insidious. So he's, a household name as far as horror goes. He's a very well-known director. I will say this one, to me, seems interesting, but maybe not so much that I would want to go see it in the theater, if I'm being honest.
Really?
Yeah, I'd probably want to watch it, like, after the fact. There's something about it that just doesn't... It didn't really intrigue me, like, compared to the other trailers that we watched. One of the things that stood out to me about this movie was that it kind of reminded me of The Ring, actually.
I literally wrote that.
Really?
Yes. Is it because of the TV?
The TV.
And the phone.
And the phone and, like, the tint. It had, like, a blue tint also, like, the same way that The Ring did. So I was like, I don't know if I really need to watch another movie like The Ring. But I am willing to give it a chance. I'm just not as excited about it as I am about the other movies. Like, it didn't catch my attention as much.
Yeah. That's so funny. We both are like, The Ring.
Because we just watched The Ring. It's fresh in our memory.
Ghost was calling them.
Ghost with a phone, except now it's an iPhone because, current times.
And then the TV was showing, like, some creepy, like, birthday footage, and then all of a sudden it cut to, like... Static, and then a girl that looks like she was in, like, some sort of a lab or something. So I was like, all right, say no more, fam.
yeah, it's got Ring vibes. And I think it also takes place in Washington, because they showed the needle, the Seattle one. So come on, James Wan. But yeah, this one looks okay.
The main actress, I would say she did a good job of looking scared.
Yeah.
Oh, and then at the very end of the trailer, it does this, like, sideways view of her laying down, and there's, like, red on her face, and then the background's, like, blue or green or something. And it reminded me of, like, different things I've seen in The Conjuring. And I think Insidious has, like, stuff with, like, red.
Oh, yeah, definitely.
I don't think I've seen that movie.
Ever?
I mixed it up with Sinister. So those two occupy the same space in my head, and I haven't seen one of them.
I could see one. You've definitely seen Sinister, I think. So maybe you haven't seen Insidious. Insidious is the one with the scene that has, like, the Tiny Tim song. Okay, then you haven't seen Insidious, because that scene is really cool, actually. So we need to watch it. We need to watch Insidious for the podcast.
All right. Add it to the list.
Yeah. The last trailer that we watched is a trailer for a movie called The Night House, which is a American psychological horror film directed by David Bruckner, based on an original screenplay by Ben Collins and Luke Petrowski. It stars Rebecca Hall, Sarah Goldberg, Evan Jonike, Stacey Martin and Vondi Curtis Hall. So, what were your thoughts on this one?
It seems like it's really going for that alternate reality mirror symbolism stuff, just from what I picked up in the trailer, which I'm into that. Like, I think that stuff's pretty interesting most of the time.
Yeah. It reminded me a lot of, have you ever seen The Others? It's I think Nicole Kidman's the main character. It came out in 2001, so you might have not seen it. It's old. I watched it like later, because in 2001 I was like 6 years old, so didn't watch it then. But I watched it later because at some point my family came to own a DVD copy of it. I don't know how, but it's a good movie, and it has that sort of like vibe. Spoiler for The Others, but at the end they figure out, Nicole Kidman and her family figure out that they kind of, if I remember correctly, because I haven't seen this in a while, they are ghosts in the house that they think is their house. So, like, they're actually the ones that are not supposed to be there, if that makes sense.
That's just like that, that one movie that was on Netflix for a while that I've watched it twice already, where there's a girl living inside of like a boarding house where there was some sort of ghost thing happening, and then she ends up realizing, oh no, she dies at the end, I think is what happens, something like that. She dies at the end, and then she's a ghost living there. Never mind. This is a different story that I'm talking about. Just ignore that. That's
scratch that.
Yeah, scratch.
And also the main actress for this movie reminds me of Shelley Duvall, who plays what is her name? From The Shining.
Yeah. That's funny, because I thought the girl from Malignant, she reminded me. She had that really good scared face and the black hair and the like really pale face. I don't know, something about her.
I think for
reminded
me, mainly this actress, it was her eyes. I feel like her eyes and her hair, like just the way that her hair sat, reminded me of Shelley Duvall. So, and I think from the trailer I could gather that the storyline has something to do with her husband, and her husband like dying or something. So I was like, it's got like semi sort of not really Shining vibes, mainly just her, but like the fact that it's like a couple, you know?
Yeah.
And it looks like her husband's death played into whatever was going to happen to her in the movie.
Yeah.
So, but yeah, this one looks really interesting to me too. And also, it was a good example of like not revealing too much in the trailer. So definitely was like enough to be intrigued, but not so much that it gave away the story.
The scene where she's out on the little bridge and the bloody feet. I don't know why, but for some reason it reminds me of that movie that you showed me a long time ago of the two sisters that are trying to figure out something about their mom's death.
The Uninvited?
Yeah. It reminded me of that for some reason. I don't know why, but
I think there were a lot of scenes in that movie that were like by a dock or like by a little lake area, so I could see why. But that movie's neat.
We should watch that one too.
Yeah, I like that movie.
That one was good.
Yeah. So out of these movies, which ones would you say, like, what's your top 3, like, that you're most excited to see?
I'd probably say Last Night in Soho is 1. And then probably Night House, and then Candyman, and then... Alright, well, the other two I'd say are tied for 4th.
Okay.
Because they both seem kind of...
Yeah, I have the same ones. I think I ordered them, and I didn't put them in the order that I would want to watch them most, but just like in general, the top ones for me were Candyman, Last Night in Soho, and The Night House. Those seem like the most interesting in the sense that they are bringing something new to the genre and just seem to have like a fresher take on on horror movies, so I'm excited to see those.
Mm-hmm.
So that's going to be it for this episode. Let us know what you guys thought about these trailers. If you've seen them, are you excited to see these movies? Let us know in the comments. Make sure to subscribe to our podcast and like this video if you enjoyed our review. If you have any comments or questions or movie suggestions, you can email us at danielleandpaola@gmail.com.
And then if you want to follow us on social media, we have our Instagram handle is hysterrifiedpodcast. And then also we have Twitter, and the handle for that one is going to be hysterrifiedpod. And then if you're using the Apple Podcast app, go ahead and leave us a review and a rating. That'd be awesome if you did. And thank you for listening/watching.
Yes, we'll see you next time.
Bye.
Bye-bye.